Well, Bungie released their plans for balancing weapons, and today I'm going to pick out the exotic weapons that you may want to take a second look at next season. That includes a long-awaited update to Monte Carlo. It allows players to use the weapon like a glaive, which is very exciting indeed. Well, stay tuned for all of the exotic weapons to use in Season 22 in Destiny 2. Okay, let's dive right into this list, and first of all we got Monte Carlo, and Bungie say we finally did it. It was mechanically the most complex catalyst we've ever done, requiring a host of custom animation work, a lot of things we've never done before on a weapon, but we hope you enjoy it. I must say, looking at the video looks very, very cool, and the fact that Glaives came out in the game probably made all of this possible. This is something we wanted to do with Monte Carlo for years. Next up we got Quicksilver Storm. So Bungie say players have been reporting it felt like the ammo was not being loaded into Quicksilver Storm at the correct time, so we investigated and discovered a misalignment with the animation and the ammo loading. That has been corrected. So they've gone on to fix an issue where ammo is loading into Quicksilver Storm slightly too late in the reload animation. Quicksilver Storm already very, very strong, so that animation has now been updated, so it should be a lot smoother to use in Season 22. Next up, we've got the Two-Tailed Fox. So Bungie say they've reworked the Catalyst perk, Third Tail. The performance of the weapon was just a little bit off, so they've changed it to fire a third rocket following the second rocket, rather than at the same time, which helps it lean harder into the Three Tails fantasy. Two-Tailed Fox now fires a 3-shot burst with a catalyst, instead of firing 3 rockets in a 2-shot burst. Two-Tailed Fox, one of my absolute favourites, and also the catalyst makes it an extra special weapon, and also rockets are in a very, very good place right now, so I would definitely check out this weapon in Season 22. Next up we got the Vergless Curve. So Bungie say they fixed an issue where if Whisper of Fissures gets the kill, it does not count for the Hall Barrage stacks. They say they've also buffed the weapon performance in PvP when using Hail Barrage. So Whisper of Fissures detonates now generates Hail Barrage stacks if the stasis crystal was created by the weapon. Shiver Quiver now activates when slowing enemies, and they've also increased the slow stacks from 40 to 60 when hitting players directly with the Hail Barrage arrows. And that allows for a freeze if 2 Hail Barrage arrows hit the same player. Well, we're going from stasis to solar next of all, and it's Tommy's matchbook. So Bungie say the previous setup wasn't working as expected, so the new behaviour gives the same end result, but front loads more Scorch onto the base behaviour. So they've updated the Scorch value as previously 14 plus 7, with Ember of Ashes fragment equipped, but now it's 15 plus 5. So that gives a little bit more Scorch on the base stats, so that is really, really good news. Next up, we've got a buff to a classic weapon, and this one is Touch of Malice, the reward from the King's Fall raid. So Bungie say Touch of Malice is a strong weapon, but the usability of the gun was just too low in any content when it mattered. This was due in large part to how easy it was to unintentionally kill yourself. When we brought back Touch of Malice, we increased the amount of self-damage the final round dealt the user, because there's far more ways to self-heal in Destiny 2 than there were in Destiny 1, but we believe we may have gone too far. To make it up to you, the final round now deals 20% additional damage in PvE. Additionally, we've reduced the damage it deals to the user, and it can no longer kill the user. This isn't to say you can't die when you're at low health, but the weapon itself will not be the thing that kills you. It's just going to hold you at 1 HP if you continue to fire it for too long. We also set up the Touch of Mercy perk to be a lot more useful and easier to activate. And they fixed the Ball of Darkness to correctly deal arc damage, blinding PvE combatants. So a few more specifics on the update then. So increase the final round damage in PvE by 20%, decrease the self damage from the final round from 10 to 7, final round damage can no longer kill the user, and increase the health awarded by Touch of Mercy perk from 30 to 75. That is a very, very big change. And set up Touch of Mercy to work like Unrelenting, so Guardians and Major Combatants give more points towards activation. They increase the time allowed between kills. And finally, Ball of Darkness now appropriately deals arc damage and blinds combatants and stuns unstoppable champions. That is another way to stun champions. That is very, very good indeed. From one scout rifle to another, next up we got a buff coming to Wicked Implement. And Bungie say we took a conservative approach with the scout rifle out of the gate. We wanted to avoid creating a lousy experience for those on the receiving end of a long-range primary weapon with the ability to slow targets in PvP. Now that it's spent some time in the live game, we can give it its intrinsic perk more uptime by making it easier to keep active. We also improved its utility by providing more opportunities to generate stasis shards, with headstone added to the catalyst and the ability to create tracking shards from destroying stasis crystals. You can keep your mag full and melee powered up more easily, and shard generation will continue to have a brief cooldown, as with all other shard sources. Well, those are the specific exotic weapon buffs, but next up we got an update to hand cannons, and we do have a lot of exotic hand cannons in the game, so I thought it was well worth going through this update. Bungie say we've heard the complaints that hand cannons feel underpowered in PvE, and we wanted to address that while also giving them a better use case to fit their hard-hitting fantasy. We decided it made sense for them to be the big game hunters of primary weapons, so we have massively increased the damage they deal to major combatants. Additionally, without investing in reload speed or perks that auto-reload, hand cannons have often felt too punishing of missed shots or running out of ammo at critical moments. We buff their baseline reload speed in a way that filters upwards to be a buff for all hand cannons, although it is a smaller buff the way you get to higher levels of the stat. And they've also built a new hand cannon subfamily for the first time in a while, adding heavy burst to the list of intrinsic traits, and that is all about Warden's Law. So in general, they've increased the reload speed by 0 stat at 15%. In terms of PvE damage, increased damage against minor combatants, that's red bars, by 20%. And then this is the big one, increased damage against major combatants, that's orange bars, by 75%. So, we have got a lot of exotic hand cannons in the game, including Ace of Spades, Thorn, Hawkmoon, Crimson, Lumina, Last Word, Stern, Eriana's Vow, Sunshot, and that is just to name a few. A few of my personal picks out of that list, I would say, are Sunshot, Ace of Spades, and also Thorn. Finally then, let's have a look at swords. So I'm specifically thinking about Lament, although we do have other exotic swords, they are available as well. So in terms of swords, all of them are getting an update, and Bungie say at present, swords don't hold much value to players because although they excel in ease of use, and they are ammo rich and they require users to put themselves in direct harm's way, Sword Guard could mitigate this, but the Guard's duration is difficult to predict with incoming fire, and it disables the Sword's primary means of offense, the full charge heavy attack. The Guard also mitigates a very small amount of damage when compared with other existing defensive options, and that is the Glaive, of course. Further, while numerous Sword Guard related perks are already in place within the game, they don't really see much play, so we decided to undertake a rework with the aim to increase the viability of blocking, to advance on enemies, and increase the value of Sword Guard related perks, as well as allow Guardians to use their fully charged heavy attack more often. Our intent is that swords now occupy a niche where they provide both better staying power and also survival. So there's a huge update about swords and Sword Guard and how all of that works, but the TLDR is swords are getting better in Season 22, and I'm specifically thinking about Lament. And Bungie do say about Lament, the Lament exotic sword has been a special case, so its charge rate and delay are unaffected, but it still benefits from the increased guard damage reduction and also the duration too. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about the exotic weapon tuning coming in Season 22, and let me know which ones you are looking forward to trying out. Well, that is it for this look at the exotic weapon update in Destiny 2 Season 22, and we don't have to wait too long now. Very, very exciting, and we've got that showcase next week. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you real soon.